Mr. Wang, I advise you to turn your fortunes around, Chu Jiang advised sagely, offering a glimmer of hope amidst Wang Kaishuan's trials. With the contract signed, Wang Kaishuan wasted no time in requesting the transfer of funds. Give me an account, and I'll transfer it to you, Chu Jiang agreed readily, signaling the beginning of a new chapter for both parties involved. Smart people, he. Wang Kaishuan chuckled, retrieving a pen and paper to jot down his private account details. 5 billion, you made a lot of money buying my company, he remarked, though inwardly he harbored doubts about the wisdom of acquiring his struggling venture. With the transaction completed, Chu Jiang promptly transferred the agreed-upon sum to Wang Kaishuan's account. As the confirmation message appeared. As Chu Jiang processed the transfer to Wang Kaishuan, a familiar ding echoed in his mind, signaling the arrival of a system prompt. With bated breath, he read the message that appeared before him. Ding, the acquisition of the Clay mobile phone company, consumption, 5 billion, 100 times the cashback, the core technology of a mobile phone company that is 100 times stronger than the Clay mobile phone. The data has been stored in the system space, please pay attention, host. The excitement that surged within him was palpable. Finally, his intuition had led him to a worthwhile investment. It wasn't merely about the immense wealth he stood to gain, it was the acquisition of groundbreaking technology, 100-fold improvement over what he had initially sought. The prospect of wielding such innovation filled him with an unparalleled sense of exhilaration. As the euphoria settled, another notification chimed, drawing Chu Jiang's attention once more. Ding, the host completes 5 billion consumption once, thereby rewarding the host with lucky points, 20 points. Luck value, 0 plus 20 points. The significance of this reward wasn't lost on Chu Jiang. Luck, that elusive force capable of tipping the scales in one's favor, now stood within his grasp. With each point bestowed upon him, the path ahead seemed clearer, obstacles less daunting. It was as though fate had granted him a boon, a guiding light amidst the uncertainty of his endeavors. Wang Kaishuan's sudden windfall of 5 billion sparked a rush of adrenaline, as if he had been rejuvenated. With a smirk directed at Chu Jiang, he turned to his assistant Yuzai and issued a command with an air of defiance, bring me 1 billion in chips, and I'll challenge Boss Chu to 2 games. Chu Jiang observed Wang Kaishuan with a faint smile playing at the corners of his lips. It seemed his earlier warning had fallen on deaf ears. Mr. Wang, are you sure you want to proceed? He asked, his tone laced with subtle concern. Wang Kaishuan shot Chu Jiang a disbelieving glance. Brother, are you doubting my abilities? He retorted incredulously. Chu Jiang's response was calm but firm. Mr. Wang, as they say, a leopard can't change its spots. I hope you reconsider. Gambling may not be the wisest course of action. However, Wang Kaishuan remained obstinate, his enthusiasm quickly giving way to impatience. Well, if that's how it's going to be, let's call it a day, he conceded, his tone noticeably darker than before. Chu Jiang nodded in acceptance. Fair enough. There's no need for further discussion. Farewell, Mr. Wang, he said, his voice tinged with a hint of disappointment. Let's both pursue our own paths. With that, Chu Jiang turned to leave, accompanied by Wang Jingxi. Despite his composed exterior, there was a flicker of annoyance in his eyes. As they made their exit, Chu Jiang instructed Wang Jingxi with a sense of determination, keep an eye on Wang Kaishuan for me. I want to see how long he can keep up this game with his leftover wealth. If he manages to squander it all, it'll be quite the spectacle. Wang Jingxi nodded in understanding. Of course, master, she replied with a knowing smile. She was well aware of Chu Jiang's resolve and the importance he placed on accountability. I'm curious to see if he'll still be as arrogant once he's lost it all, Chu Jiang muttered under his breath, his frustration evident. Damn gambler. With Wang Jingxi arranging for surveillance on Wang Kaishuan, they proceeded to their awaiting luxury vehicle, a Rolls-Royce Phantom. Despite not being a rare addition, it still exuded an aura of opulence. As they settled into the plush interior, Chu Jiang's mind was already focused on their impending departure. The matter at hand had been resolved, and they were set to return home the following day. Determined to monitor Wang Kaishuan's recklessness, Chu Jiang instructed Wang Jingxi to keep him informed of any developments. Their departure was swift, leaving behind the allure of the casino for the tranquility of their awaiting vehicle. As they approached the villa, Wang Jingxi received the latest update. Wang Kaishuan had already lost half of his funds and was now risking the remainder on a single bet. Lose. The news left Wang Jingxi momentarily stunned. Despite anticipating Wang Kaishuan's downfall, she hadn't anticipated it occurring so swiftly. Master, the information you were waiting for has arrived, Wang Jingxi announced to Chu Jiang, who reclined with closed eyes in the car, a faint smile gracing her lips. Chu Jiang was surprised when Wang Jingxi delivered the news. How did Wang Kaishuan fare? He's lost everything, Wang Jingxi replied, her tone a mix of disbelief and concern. But I never imagined he'd. It's astonishing, isn't it? 5 billion, what a waste, Chu Jiang remarked, though he had expected as much. Despite the hefty sum he'd spent on acquiring the clay group, Chu Jiang couldn't help but feel a pang of irritation at how swiftly Wang Kaishuan had squandered his funds. Wang Jingxi sighed, contemplating the immense value of 5 billion. That sum could sustain me for 100 years, even with bonuses added to my annual salary. Chu Jiang chuckled, teasing Wang Jingxi with a light-hearted jest. If you were to become my woman, I might consider giving you 5 billion. Wang Jingxi blushed at the suggestion, caught off guard by Chu Jiang's playful remark. Master, you. Laughing, Chu Jiang reassured her. Just a joke to lighten the mood. But 5 billion is a considerable sum, even for someone close to me. The acquisition of the clay group had yielded an unexpected windfall, a 100-fold return in cutting-edge technology. Chu Jiang recognized the potential impact this would have on the global market, and he was keenly aware of the responsibility it entailed. Realizing the need for power to safeguard his assets, Chu Jiang instructed Wang Jingxi to explore the purchase of a suitable island. After reviewing several options, they settled on Tianhulu. Wang Jingxi provided a grim assessment of the island's history, cautioning Chu Jiang about its unsuitability for human habitation due to lingering pollution from World War II. Despite its lack of value, the price tag was surprisingly low at 4,300 yuan. Chu Jiang's initial surprise was quickly replaced by a determined resolve. Is it really that cheap? 4,300 yuan. As Wang Jingxi began to express her reservations, Chu Jiang's expression changed as he thought of a ridiculous possibility. Without hesitation, he declared, "We'll take it." Wang Jingxi paused, her objections fading in the face of Chu Jiang's unwavering decision. She acquiesced, recognizing that further protest would be futile in the face of his determination. As soon as the purchase of Tianhulu Dao was completed, Chu Jiang received an astonishing reward from the system. Ding, the host bought the island, rewards, super environmental purifier, city and future city defense systems and a battalion of 2,000 super biochemical human. As news of the purchase spread online, it garnered mixed reactions from people, with many expressing skepticism about the utility of buying such an island. Despite its low cost, the uninhabitable nature of the island deterred potential buyers. Upon receiving the system's rewards, Tianhulu Dao underwent a dramatic transformation. Satellites failed to monitor the island as a new city sprouted seemingly out of thin air. Despite the absence of human residents, the island teemed with life with the presence of the 2,000 biochemical cyborgs. At the same time, alert! Our monitoring of Tianhulu Dao has failed, but we managed to capture these images before it went dark. Exclaimed a staff member at the satellite monitoring station. Let me see. Is that a city? Kenneth, in charge of monitoring isolated islands, leaned closer to the screen, his brow furrowed in disbelief. Looks like it, despite the blurry image, another staff member replied. This is unbelievable. A city appearing out of nowhere on a biochemically polluted island. How is that even possible? Kenneth's concern was palpable. Tianhulu Dao used to have great potential with its strategic location and abundant resources, but now. The staff member trailed off, unsure of what to make of the sudden transformation. Have you attempted to recalibrate the monitoring equipment? Kenneth's voice was urgent. We did, but Tianhulu Dao and its surrounding waters remain unmonitored, the staff member admitted. Who owns Tianhulu Dao now? Kenneth demanded. It was owned by the Austin family, but recently a buyer from Chu acquired it, came the reply. Chu again. Can you find out more about this buyer? Their identity, perhaps? Kenneth pressed on. We've tried, but there's no information available, the staff member admitted, frustration evident in their tone. No information. Unbelievable. Dispatch a team to the island immediately. We need to investigate this firsthand, Kenneth ordered decisively. Yes, sir. The staff member acknowledged, understanding the gravity of the situation. At the same time, Chu Jiang lounged in Haisha's mansion, engrossed in a video game with Ning Ro by his side. Ro, here's 1,000,000 yuan pocket money for you. Treat yourself well while I'm away, Chu Jiang said casually, slipping his sister a wad of cash. Brother Chu, I really don't need it. Ning Ro hesitated, uncertain about accepting such a large sum. Don't worry about it. Spend it on whatever you like to eat. Money's one thing I'm not short of, Chu Jiang reassured her with a grin. If anyone else had made such a lavish offer, Wang Jingxi would have scoffed. But coming from Chu Jiang, it felt oddly normal to her. The young master's ways are truly beyond comprehension, Wang Jingxi remarked to herself as she followed Chu Jiang to the mansion across the gate. The opulence of every corner of the mansion rivaled that of Heidu, and its luxury surpassed even Chu Jiang's main residence in Dongjiao No. 1. But, young master, you've never visited this place before, Wang Jingxi noted, puzzled by the discrepancy between Chu Jiang's absence and the mansion's grandeur. It was a mystery she couldn't quite unravel. How could such a lavish estate exist without its owner ever setting foot inside? Was this truly the life of the wealthy? Chu Jiang and Ning Ro chatted over video calls for over half an hour while Wang Jingxi made arrangements for Chu Jiang's daily needs. A chef was brought in from the hotel to prepare a lavish meal for Chu Jiang at home. Stop hovering and join us for dinner. Chu Jiang gestured to Wang Jingxi, a warm smile on his face. You're doing a fantastic job. I'm very pleased with your work. Wang Jingxi's efficiency and intuition were commendable, and Chu Jiang appreciated her ability to anticipate his needs. Book a flight back to Heidu tomorrow afternoon, and remember what I asked you to do. Chu Jiang asked, a playful glint in his eyes. I haven't forgotten, young master. I'll reach out to the channels for private jets, Wang Jingxi replied, giving Chu Jiang a knowing look. He had a penchant for luxury indeed. Well done, as always, Chu Jiang praised with a grin. Oh, by the way, I heard there are some beautiful women at the door. Is that true? Chu Jiang inquired casually while enjoying his meal. Master, don't forget Lu Xin and Luo Yao. Both are from the door, Wang Jingxi reminded him, raising an eyebrow. Lu Xin is a rare beauty, and Luo Yao's charms are legendary, Chu Jiang mused, his lips curling into a smirk. Don't worry, I won't be making any moves unless you are really interested, Chu Jiang reassured Wang Jingxi, catching her thoughts. If you say that again, I'll, just. Wang Jingxi's face flushed, her words trailing off. What's wrong? Chu Jiang chuckled, amused by Wang Jingxi's reaction. Dinner's over. Let's take a walk, Wang Jingxi suggested, changing the subject. After dinner, Wang Jingxi prepared a pot of tea for Chu Jiang and handed him a cigarette. You know, if you became my woman, I wouldn't have to pay you, Chu Jiang joked, blowing out a smoke ring. Ha, keep dreaming, Wang Jingxi teased back, rolling her eyes playfully. As Chu Jiang planned to visit the casino, he handed Wang Jingxi a bank card with a generous sum. Take the afternoon off and go shopping. Treat yourself, Chu Jiang insisted. Wang Jingxi was surprised by the gesture but accepted the card gratefully. Master, are you sure you don't want me to accompany you? I'll be fine on my own. Besides, I wouldn't want to scare off any other beauties, Chu Jiang quipped. With that, Chu Jiang hopped into his Lamborghini Bull and drove off. Wang Jingxi couldn't help but admire Chu Jiang's careful consideration. Despite the short time together, she had already grown accustomed to his thoughtful gestures. With Chu Jiang off to the casino, Wang Jingxi set out to explore the luxury car dealerships around the area, eager to fulfill her master's wishes. Xinjing Chun Hotel stood as the epitome of luxury in Mena, boasting a construction cost exceeding 3 billion yuan. Serving as both a casino and hotel, it had become a landmark in the city. Chu Jiang arrived in style, driving his sports car to the hotel's entrance, where a parking attendant eagerly approached him. Without hesitation, Chu Jiang handed the attendant a handful of cash, earning instant flattery from the young man. Entering the lobby, Chu Jiang marveled at the opulence surrounding him. The feng shui layout exuded power and wealth, and Chu Jiang couldn't help but appreciate the design. As he stepped into the elevator, he found himself accompanied by a stunning woman. Her allure was undeniable, and Chu Jiang couldn't resist the opportunity to strike up a conversation. Pretending to be on a call, Chu Jiang spoke loudly. The woman glanced at him, her interest piqued by his display. Leaning in closer, Chu Jiang whispered to her, "Did you notice I was faking that call earlier?" With a hint of amusement, the woman replied, "The routine is good, quite novelistic." Emboldened by her response, Chu Jiang made his move, asking for her phone number. However, before she could respond, the elevator suddenly lurched and began to descend rapidly. Instinctively, the woman grabbed onto Chu Jiang, seeking reassurance in the moment of panic. Although Chu Jiang remained composed, he couldn't help but notice the woman's proximity and the subtle fragrance that surrounded her. Wow, you smell amazing, Chu Jiang remarked with a grin, enjoying the unexpected closeness. Unbeknownst to Chu Jiang, the woman he held was none other than Wang Yufei, the popular actress known as the fairy sister of the entertainment industry. Wang Yufei couldn't help but feel a mix of surprise and disappointment as she looked at Chu Jiang. Hey, let go, let go. You really don't know who I am? She asked, her curiosity evident in her voice. Chu Jiang chuckled, releasing Wang Yufei with ease. We didn't know each other before, but we can get to know each other in the future. He replied casually, adjusting his clothes as he spoke. What's your name? You look familiar. Wang Yufei gave Chu Jiang a blank look, her disappointment palpable. You really don't know me? She questioned, her voice tinged with disbelief. Chu Jiang scratched his head, his expression sheepish. I really didn't recognize you at first, but now that I think about it, you do look a lot like Wang Yufei. He exclaimed, a smile playing on his lips. Wang Yufei's incredulity only grew as Chu Jiang continued to feign ignorance. You said you didn't know me. And you said you didn't want to strike up a conversation with me on purpose. She retorted, her tone laced with a hint of annoyance. Chu Jiang's surprise was evident as the realization dawned on him. Couldn't you be Wang Yufei? He exclaimed. Wang Yufei rolled her eyes, her frustration evident. What do you say? She replied, her patience wearing thin. Without another word, she stepped out of the elevator. Chu Jiang followed suit. Wang Yufei, the reigning goddess of innocence in the entertainment industry, known affectionately as the fairy sister, received Chu Jiang's comment with a mix of curiosity and amusement. Hey, no plans for tonight, huh? I'm quite skilled, you know, Chu Jiang teased. Wang Yufei, despite her title as the epitome of purity, caught the innuendo in Chu Jiang's words. Her cheeks flushed crimson in response. Chu Jiang, unfazed, wrapped his arms around Wang Yufei's waist and whispered softly in her ear. Stay still. If you want all eyes on you, feel free to try. I don't mind. Initially resistant, Wang Yufei shifted uneasily, but fell silent upon hearing Chu Jiang's words. She lowered her gaze, avoiding the stares of passers-by to conceal her identity. What are you up to, anyway? Wang Yufei, bewildered by the unfamiliar situation, thought she would have been accompanied by Sister Mei, her manager, had she known. I'd like to take you out for dinner, Chu Jiang replied, tightening his hold around Wang Yufei. Wang Yufei's demeanor hinted at her secretive escape, her reluctance to disclose details apparent. Indeed, celebrities abound, and for prominent figures like actress Wang Yufei, paparazzi surveillance is incessant. Don't wander, stay with me, and I'll let you go. Chu Jiang whispered in Wang Yufei's ear, eliciting a nod in compliance. She had never been in such proximity to a man before. Past filming experiences involved stringent on-set regulations, leaving no room for impropriety. With Chu Jiang, however, she harbored uncertainties. All right, I agree, but you must abide by your word, Wang Yufei conceded. Chu Jiang's grip loosened from her waist, but not without a lingering touch. Your waist is so slender, Chu Jiang remarked, his grin suggestive of a calculated move to unsettle Wang Yufei. Flushed and on the verge of tears, Wang Yufei, unaccustomed to such treatment, felt both indignant and intrigued. Though Chu Jiang relinquished his hold, he promptly clasped her arm, leading her into the adjacent elevator. Wang Yufei blushed and remained silent. Chu Jiang, emboldened by her reticence, escorted her to the third floor of Xin Jingchen, where minimum bets started at 100,000 yuan. Wang Yufei had initially sought only to partake in the amusement, with no intention of gambling. Despite her status as a burgeoning actress, her rise to prominence had been recent, and her earnings, though substantial, did not exceed 100 million after a year of relentless toil. Her aspirations of purchasing a mansion through her own efforts seemed increasingly daunting. Following Chu Jiang's lead, Wang Yufei chimed in, Hey, don't you want me to accompany you? Hurry up, I'm heading back. Her naivety led her to believe that Chu Jiang simply desired her company. As the adage goes, a man's words are often deceitful, a truth that Wang Yufei was beginning to grasp. Not in a rush, Chu Jiang remarked as he delicately inhaled the air around him. You smell delightful. Wang Yufei's response was a mixture of exasperation and embarrassment as she rolled her eyes at Chu Jiang, her cheeks flushing crimson as she bit her lip and cast her gaze downward. Despite merely strolling through the area, Chu Jiang's presence attracted significant attention, amplified by Wang Yufei's celebrity status. Their conspicuousness did not escape the notice of a manager in a suit and tie who approached them with a request. Sir, please let go of the lady and accompany us inside, the manager in the suit and tie requested. Chu Jiang glanced over at the 10 towering bodyguards behind the manager, momentarily taken aback by the unexpected situation. Excuse me, he responded, his tone laced with disbelief. We suspect you're a scammer, one of those who come to exploit the establishment, the manager explained. Chu Jiang couldn't help but find the accusation amusing. Me, a scammer, he retorted inwardly, scoffing at the notion. I can't even cheat properly. Furthermore, Chu Jiang had legitimately paid for entry, making the accusation even more absurd. Chu Jiang scoffed, you must be mistaken. Why would I? Sir, please comply, interrupted the man, identified as Duan Baoxing, the manager of the establishment. Chu Jiang was anything but a scammer, yet he had his own motives for being there. Duan Baoxing, upon witnessing Chu Jiang's interaction with Wang Yufei, had formed a misguided perception of him as an easy target. With his authority within the establishment, Duan Baoxing frequently manipulated situations to his advantage. Cooperate. Chu Jiang chuckled, meeting the gaze of those before him. Certainly, I'm more than willing to cooperate. Unbeknownst to Duan Baoxing, Chu Jiang possessed an ace up his sleeve, a notification from the system. Ding, in light of the host's considerable spending power, 10 super biochemical guards will be provided as a reward. Ding, the guard has been deployed and is approaching the host. Duan Baojing's expression darkened upon hearing Chu Jiang's compliance. Witnessing Chu Jiang's intimate gesture towards Wang Yufei, Duan Baojing's lips curled into a wicked smile. With a commanding gesture, he instructed his subordinates, bring him inside for a thorough inspection. As soon as Duan Baojing spoke, 10 burly men surrounded him, the demeanor fierce and menacing. You're just looking for trouble, why bother with excuses? Chu Jiang remained unfazed, his demeanor tinged with excitement. Leaning back in his chair, he stretched out his arms casually. You guys are all so big and tough, yet you resort to this. Doesn't it bruise your ego? Who do you think you? Duan Baojing began, but caught himself, shooting a meaningful glance at his younger brothers. Their men moved forward, intending to forcibly escort Chu Jiang and the woman with him into the office. But Chu Jiang had no intention of complying. Do you really think I'm an easy target? He retorted, a hint of mockery in his voice. As they moved to drag him away, Chu Jiang called out, come out. Duan Baojing paused, scanning the surroundings, but found nothing out of the ordinary. You think you can scare me? Duan Baojing scoffed, regaining his composure. Take him and that woman to my office. While Chu Jiang remained stoic, Wang Yufei, feeling a bit apprehensive, instinctively sought refuge in his embrace. Chu Jiang tightened his hold around her, addressing Duan Baojing with a sly grin. You scared my woman. And that wasn't a bluff. Before Duan Baojing could respond, 10 figures descended from above, swiftly incapacitating his men. Duan Baojing watched in shock, realizing too late the gravity of the situation. So, I'm a cheat. Chu Jiang's voice rang out, a hint of amusement in his tone. As a super biochemical guard took hold of Duan Baojing, Chu Jiang's gaze bore into him. You scared my woman, and now you're in my domain. Wang Yufei observed in astonishment. The tables had turned dramatically, and she couldn't help but feel intrigued by Chu Jiang's enigmatic presence. Standing tall, Chu Jiang took a moment to size up Duan Baojing, a mischievous glint in his eye. Do you really think I'm a pushover? He taunted, stepping forward to confront Duan Baojing directly. Chu Jiang's hand made contact with Duan Baojing's cheek with a resounding slap. Have you lost your mind? Duan Baojing recoiled, his facade crumbling under Chu Jiang's relentless gaze. Admit it, Chu Jiang demanded, his voice firm yet tinged with amusement. Yes, I was wrong, Duan Baojing conceded, his voice trembling with fear. Chu Jiang's eyes narrowed as he delivered another stinging blow to Duan Baojing's ego. You really don't have the guts, do you? Duan Baojing cowered, offering profuse apologies and promises of compensation. But Chu Jiang wasn't done yet. Gripping Duan Baojing firmly by the ear, he delivered a final scathing remark. You're lucky I'm in a good mood today, Chu Jiang declared, his tone laced with disdain. Chu Jiang, initially wary of the situation, found himself reluctant to engage further. With Wang Yufei at his side, he had no desire to prolong the encounter with Duan Baojing. Sir, please show mercy, came a plea from the crowd. Just as he contemplated extracting some form of compensation and making his exit, a grating voice interrupted his thoughts. Furrowing his brow imperceptibly, Chu Jiang suppressed his irritation. And who might you be? He snapped, irritation lacing his tone. The visitor's countenance soured at Chu Jiang's retort, his displeasure evident. Chu Jiang's remark sent a chill down the visitor's spine. It was none other than Zhao Shaokan, the favored son of the gambling king Zhao himself. Could this bold stranger really be ignorant of Zhao's lofty status? Who dared to speak to Zhao Shaokan in such a manner? From childhood, Zhao Shaokan had been accustomed to deference and respect. Even within the walls of his father's empire, few dared to address him so brashly. I advise you, Zhao Shaokan began, his voice tinged with authority. But before he could finish, a guard by Chu Jiang's side suddenly appeared in front of him, swiftly subduing Zhao Shaokan. Panic rippled through the crowd. Duan Baojing and his ilk were unfazed, but the sight of Zhao Shaokan under Chu Jiang's control sent a shiver down their spines. Should Chu Jiang mishandle the situation, the consequences would be dire. Release our young master, one of Zhao Shaokun's entourage demanded, hands inching towards their holsters. Ignoring the threats, Chu Jiang strode up to Zhao Shaokan, delivering a resounding slap across his face. I despise pretense, he declared, his blow leaving Zhao Shaokan with a swollen cheek. Before Zhao Shaokan could react, Chu Jiang delivered another stinging blow. The surrounding guards reached for their weapons, but in an instant, found themselves incapacitated by Chu Jiang's guards. Master, one of the guards handed Chu Jiang a gun, which he casually accepted, toying with it in his hand. I despise the feeling of being in the crosshairs, Chu Jiang declared, pressing the gun against Zhao Shaokun's forehead. Zhao Shaokan trembled with fear, his tears flowing freely. If he had foreseen this outcome, he would have never ventured here. Who were these individuals? What made them so formidable? These questions swelled in Zhao Shaokun's mind, filling him with dread. Zhao Shaokan trembled as Chu Jiang held a gun to his forehead, his confidence shattered. When he noticed a small puddle beneath him, Chu Jiang couldn't help but laugh. Did you wet yourself out of fear? Chu Jiang teased, tapping him lightly on the head with the gun's butt. Stop acting tough. Some people are beyond your league to provoke, got it? Terrified, Zhao Shaokan dared not utter a word, fearing Chu Jiang might accidentally fire the gun. Release him, Chu Jiang ordered, dismissing Zhao Shaokun's cowardice. The guard obeyed, releasing Zhao Shaokan, who fell to the ground, his teeth knocked out from the impact. Now, as for you, Chu Jiang turned to Duan Baojing, smacking him with casino chips. Prepare to transfer 100 million to my account. Don't look down on people, or you'll regret it. With a mix of seriousness and jest, Chu Jiang warned, cross me, and I'll bring everything you have down. As they left, Chu Jiang hugged Wang Yufei, adding a touch of humor to the tense situation. Though bewildered by the events, she found herself strangely drawn to the enigmatic stranger. Who was that? She asked, her voice tinged with curiosity. Chu Jiang chuckled softly. Zhao Shaokan, son of the gambling king Zhao. Wang Yufei's eyes widened in disbelief. And you dared to treat him so? Chu Jiang grinned. Because my fist is bigger than his. Wang Yufei also frowned. It's over, she muttered. I was standing with you just now. Will they bring me along when they take revenge on you? What are you afraid of? Chu Jiang chuckled dismissively. Just these small fry. Why would they seek revenge on me? Chu Jiang shrugged, seemingly unfazed. He's worth hundreds of billions now. Compared to that, it's impossible for the gambling king Zhao to have more assets than him. I have the system. Why would I be afraid of their revenge? He thought inwardly. Wang Yufei also frowned and said with a bitter face, then what should I do? Chu Jiang chuckled, be my woman, I'll protect you. No matter how courageous they are, they wouldn't dare to do anything to my woman, would they? Before Wang Yufei could respond, Chu Jiang gently placed his fingers on her lips. Don't talk, just kiss, he said, pulling her into an embrace and kissing her. A few minutes later, Chu Jiang led Wang Yufei out of the Grand Lisboa by hand. Back at his villa, Wang Yufei marveled at the grandeur of the place. Wow, this villa is so big. Is it yours? Chu Jiang nodded. If you like it, I'll give it to you. Wang Yufei was stunned. You'd give it to me? Yes, I don't come here often, and the villa is empty, Chu Jiang explained. Anyway, I have plenty of them around the world. Meanwhile, Wang Jingxi returned and saw Chu Jiang with Wang Yufei. She made some casual remarks about turning Wang Yufei into a young mistress. Later that night, while Chu Jiang and Wang Yufei enjoyed dinner and wine, Wang Jingxi struggled to sleep due to the sound coming from Chu Jiang's room. In the morning, Wang Jingxi looked exhausted, and Chu Jiang noticed her tired appearance. What's wrong with you? He asked. Wang Jingxi sighed. It's not you, young master. Chu Jiang raised an eyebrow. Me. I didn't do anything to you, so what's my fault?